Have you ever been to a meeting that was a waste of time? I know you have. In fact, if you've been in the world of business for longer than about a day, you certainly have been to a meeting that was a waste of time. It's sad that this afflicts so many of us, but we've gotten into some habits that don't really work in our favor. Now, there are many forms of communication in the workplace. Meetings are just one, but let's spend a little bit of time exploring 3 very simple tips that can make any meeting you chair be far more effective. Here's the first tip. Think about this. Does the meeting need to even happen at all? For example, I bet you've been to a meeting and you've thought, this could have actually been an email. Well, don't fall into the same trap. Meetings are at their best when they're used to discuss ideas, create opinion, get thoughts, make decisions, and agree on actions. They're not fantastic when we're just disseminating big chunks of information. So if you could have just sent an email as an FYI, do that. There's no point getting people together. Just because you meet every week at the same time doesn't mean you have to meet every week at the same time if there's nothing productive to do at the meeting. If you keep your meetings just for when they're needed, people will actually want to go to them because they'll feel like they're getting something out of them. My second tip for conducting excellent meetings is to use the power of the pre-read. If there's a fair bit of information to understand before decisions and actions can be agreed upon, make sure that pre-read's been circulated in plenty of time for people to get their head around and digest the information, and maybe even ask some questions before the meeting occurs, which will again save you some time and create a lot more efficiency in the meeting. If you're handing out big documents in the meeting and asking people to read them or follow along as you read them, that is not an effective use of time and again creates disengagement. My third tip, and this one is radical, is alter the way time works in your meetings. And it's to solve this problem. It's to solve the problem of we are taking a while to dial into the meeting because we've just been back to back to back and now we've got to jump out of that meeting and jump into this one, or we try and dial in exactly on time, but Zoom or Teams decide it's going to have an update that day. Or if it's a face-to-face meeting, we're having trouble getting the previous group out of the meeting room so that we can all sit down. Then we have to sit down and ruffle our papers and turn on the technology and make sure everything works properly. We can avoid all of that by altering the way that time works. And here's how we do it. Who said your meeting had to start at the top of the hour or at the bottom of the hour? It doesn't. Why can't you start your meeting at 10 past 10 instead of 10 o'clock? Who said meetings had to run in half-hour, 1-hour blocks? It's a completely arbitrary decision. Why not have a 20-minute meeting? And by doing this, you can ensure there is time between people's other commitments so that your meeting starts on time. And if you are then clever at finishing on time, people can gracefully sail off to the next event. They will thank you for it. They will want to come to your meetings and they will contribute meaningfully and support you when you want to move the agenda along as well. Just remember those 3 tips. 1, does the meeting even need to be here in the first place? 2, let's make sure that everything that's been disseminated has been disseminated before we get to the meeting. The pre-read, the power of the pre-read. And 3, let's alter the way time works to make sure our meetings always start on time and always finish on time. Good luck at your next meeting.